Okay, welcome to your lesson on volume of prisms. Today our goal is going to be to find the volume of prisms. It's going to be one of the easiest formulas that you're going to learn today. And it's going to be basically length times width times height. Another thing to think about is just basically you're going to take the area of the base and you're going to multiply that by the height. So that is going to be an easy process for us. We're going to talk about a couple examples right here. And then we'll try to use a real life application. So if you take a look at this one, this box is probably about 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. That's a cubic foot right there. Here's a cubic yard. Now you're going to have to remember this for later. It's 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. So if you look at the example of this lady sitting on this cube, I'm not sure why she is, but on the bottom layer, you're going to actually have 9 cubes. Then you're going to have a height of 3 cubes. So 3 by 3 by 3 is 27 cubic feet, which is also the same thing as a cubic yard. So you're going to take the area of the base and you're going to multiply by the height. So anytime that you're doing prisms, you're just going to basically take the area of the base and you're going to multiply by the height. Today I'm going to just stick with rectangular prisms, and this can also apply to some other ones. So let's get into doing some actual examples right here. We're going to again use the length times width times height. So give an example of this particular box right here. I want to find the volume of it. I'm going to take the 3 dimensions and I'm going to start filling in volume, length, times width, times height. So I'm going to believe that my length right here is 12 feet, my width is 4, and my height is 5. So I'll let you take a moment, grab your calculator, and find the answer for this one, or do some mental math. And you should get an answer of 240 cubic feet. I know this sounds silly, but definitely make sure that you are labeling everything with the correct units, because that's going to pay off definitely later. All right, I'm going to give you a moment to try this example right here for this moving truck of finding out how much volume this has. You can hit pause if you want to, but I ask that you actually get the answer before you reveal the answer. Okay, you should have had the formula in there. You should have your 3 dimensions, and then it should be labeled with 896 cubic feet. Okay, hopefully this is pretty easy. Let's move into one example where we actually have to find the height, width, or length. So the example I have is a moving truck right here, where maybe I'm possibly renting this for a day. And I take my measuring tape and I get 20 feet by 9 feet. And if you know me, it's going to be quite a challenge for me to measure the height. The company tells me that it's 1,440 cubic feet, and I need to find the height in there because I got to figure out, can I move this item in there? Do I have to lay it on its side? What am I going to do? So what I'm going to ask you to do is definitely just punch in everything like you normally would with your formula. Notice how this time I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm not going to be doing all multiplication. I'm given this volume. So notice how I put that on the left-hand side of the equation. And then I start filling everything else in here. You are given 9 feet for the width, so I put the 9 below the W and 20 before length. This becomes into a one-step equation eventually, once we simplify it. You're going to multiply the 20 times 9 and get 180. Try to go a step ahead of me and try to figure out the height. Yes, you should have divided, and you should get an answer of 8 feet. If you're not sure of yourself, just take these 3 dimensions of 8, 9, and 20, and when you multiply it, you should get 1,440 cubic feet. So if you're ever reading any manual, anything of that sort, that tells you the volume, and you have 2 of the dimensions, you should be able to find the 3rd dimension. Okay. Now, beyond this, the famous math question is when am I ever going to use something like this? Some of you maybe have spread mulch, moved gravel, concrete, any of those types of things. They're quite often measured in cubic feet. So here's the important thing. Let's say you get to help mulch the flower beds at school, business, home, apartment, for a neighbor, somewhere. And you got to decide how much you're going to order. Some of you have actually done this and you realize, wow, I hate it when I have lots of mulch or concrete left over, or I don't have enough and I've got to go back and I've got to pay more. So we're going to be doing it the same process we have, but I'm going to add just a little bit of information for you. So we've got this flower bed that is 300 feet by 5 feet by 2 inches. The first step right here is I'm going to need to convert that 2 inches into feet. So I'm going to do 2 over 12. Hopefully I don't make a mistake this time. So my formula is length times width times height. So my length is 300 feet. My width is 5. My height, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using a fraction here. I'm going to be doing 2 over 12 because that's 2 inches over 12 inches. And why did I choose that? There's 12 inches in a foot. I do my math, and if I multiply across, I'm going to get 300 times 5 times 2. This will be 3,000. Then I divide by 12, and I get an answer of 250 cubic feet. I'm like, great, thanks a lot. How does that help me out? Well, if you actually call up a company, they usually have charts for you. They can do the calculations for you, and they can tell you how many yards that is. I'm going to show you this extra step. I don't know if you remember back just a little bit ago when I was showing you this cube right here. A lot of times companies will measure it in cubic feet, then they convert it into what's called a cubic yard. So when they're measuring this, they measure by a cubic yard. So here's a formula. You take your square footage times your depth in inches divided by 27. Now we did that. The only thing that we did not do is 27. And you're asking yourself, why 27? Notice there's 27 cubes here that are a foot by foot, so that's 27 cubic feet is equal to 1 cubic yard. So up here, we did this earlier. We did 1,500 times 2 divided by 12. We got 250. Now, once we divide this by 27, we're going to get an order of around 9 yards. So you might actually order a company and say, you know what, can I have 9 yards delivered to this address? All right, hopefully this is helpful. Important thing that you learned today is that there are applications outside of a math class. Anytime you're doing concrete, soil, mulch, a lot of different things right there, you can actually be using this. Thank you very much, and good luck.